Hello, welcome to the Lancaster Hi-Fi YouTube channel. Dog, where you been? No videos. What's up? Been shooting a lot of footage, but not doing any editing, really. Been doing a lot of work on stuff, so that's kind of where I'm at. Shooting doesn't take much time, editing takes a lot of time, and I want to get some stuff done during my 3 months off in the summer. Done a lot of traveling. And I've gotten some cool stuff, but summer's a great time to work on speakers because here in Western Oregon, it's actually dry outside, it's actually hot outside, and so the kind of speaker work that needs to be done outside can be done. Specifically this video, I want to talk about finally getting around to restoring these Realistic Optimus 1 speakers. And I'm just, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on these things, or a fair amount of work. The cabinets are falling apart, so re-gluing those and so on. But what I really want to do with this video is simply address the dope on the surrounds for the woofers. That's it. So that's the subject of this video. Here's the woofer from the Optimus 1. You can see the shiny coating on this old cloth surround. The cloth surround is fine, but that shiny coating has become hard and brittle, and it should be tacky and flexible. So we want to remove that and put on the new surround dope. Surround dope of choice, of necessity, is this from Vintage AR on eBay. And I may need to dilute this a little bit with some toluene. Because I've had it for a while and it's probably become a little thicker than it should be, but I will check. Well, we'll see. It comes with one of these applicator brushes. I also have a whole pack of these, and I've got some shop towels, old underwear, boxers. In the past, the way I've done this is to use toluene to remove the old stuff, but I've never done this on a Realistic speaker. Realistic didn't use exactly the same surround dope that KLH and Acoustic Research did. Acoustic Research and KLH used butyl rubber surround dope. I don't know what Realistic used, but the things that KLH and Acoustic Research used were proprietary, I suppose, and while Realistic attempted to copy their speakers, and particularly this model was designed to copy the KLH6. They didn't get it right, so we got to remove it. But I don't know that toluene is going to do the trick. I've done a little research on Audio Karma to see what will work, and some people have had good luck with acetone, so we've got 100% pure acetone here. While some people had good luck with the acetone, others said that they needed to use lacquer thinner in addition to the acetone. Lacquer thinner is generally a combination of acetone, toluene, and methanol. I've got toluene, I've got acetone, so I might make a little blend. You may hear a little wooflet if I don't edit it out. My dog wants to come out and keep me company, but I don't want her out here while I'm working with this hazardous stuff. Which brings us to measures that we need to take in order to be safe. Got some nitrile gloves from my local Fred Meyer. I just got a 10-pack because it's a one-size-fits-all, or fits most, and I don't know how well they're going to fit. I usually wear a large. And I've got a respirator mask specifically recommended for use with volatile substances. That is, it has activated charcoal in the filters. I don't know that I'm going to need to use this, but I've got it on deck in case I do. I'm outdoors, and that's of course the first thing in order to be safe with these sorts of volatile fluids, volatile compounds, volatile organic compounds as they go by the name of VOCs. Even aromatic volatile organic compounds want to be outdoors. I've got a couple things to. I'm gonna use this beaker for to put some acetone in, to put some toluene in, in order to use the brushes and mop up with this. So I'll apply with the brushes probably and mop up, try to absorb the old stuff with the shop towels. I've got sort of a waste beaker here. And I've got a funnel and a graduated cylinder. In this case, this is a 250 milliliter graduated cylinder in case I need to do some measurements, but I don't plan to use this, but if I need it, then I need it and I want to have it. Let's see, did I cover all the materials? I believe I did. So the process is going to be to use the brush to apply to this cloth surround here, pretty liberally apply acetone to try to soften that old dope, and again then mop it up with shop towels, boxer cloth, and that's about it. Yeah, my plan is essentially to go first with the acetone. If it's not working real well, I might mix some toluene to the equation. Only having sort of the one supply beaker here, I don't know exactly how this is going to go, but we'll see.
Take it from a friend and I'll say it once again, these are hard times. People on the run and they never have fun in the sunshine. Thinking about the summertime now. Thinking about the summertime now. Soft winds blow, everybody comes home again. Friendships grow, summertime's the love we send. Back home, back home. An old pair of shoes and I haven't paid my dues in a long time. Standing in the rain with a nickel to my name, but I don't mind. I'm thinking about the summertime now. Thinking about the summertime now. Soft winds blow, everybody comes home again. Friendships grow, summertime's the love we send. Back home, yeah, back home. I said take it from a friend and I'll say it once again, these are hard times. People on the run and they never have fun in the sunshine. I'm thinking about the summertime now. Thinking about the summertime now.
So as you could see, I was simply applying, sort of working my way around. I started off in sort of a patch to test the efficacy of the acetone, and then kind of worked my way around, kind of going over and back over and into new stickier stuff. And now I'm looking as the acetone completely evaporates, I want to look and make sure that I don't have any more patches that I need to get. And right here I'm seeing a little spot that's still a bit shiny, so I'm going to want to go back over that. And I'm just going to inspect this otherwise to make sure that I've got everything. I might just give it one more going over. You can see a couple of spots. You can see this darker spot here and here. Now, as you may also wonder, is if the acetone dissolves this stuff, is it also going to dissolve the glue holding the surround onto the aluminum frame and the cone? And I don't know, so I'm going to be not super duper careful, but generally not get any more than is absolutely necessary in those spots in terms of the acetone. So I'm going to go back over this just a bit, and I'll get these last remaining bits. So I want to get all of that old stuff off. Now, if I were doing an AR speaker out of the wild, or a KLH speaker out of the wild, and nobody had done anything to it since it was brand new, I would probably skip this step and go straight to the vintage AR dope, because I only need to do this if it's got the wrong stuff on it that I need to remove thoroughly before I put on the right stuff. Now, why do I know how to do this? Because I put the wrong stuff on an AR speaker surround, 2 of them. I put essentially diluted caulk, and was alerted by kind people on Audio Karma that that was a very bad thing to do, and that I wanted to get that shit off of there ASAP before I irreversibly ruined those speakers. And so I did that with toluene. Got that old stuff all off. I had previously already used toluene to get the old stuff off because I wanted the new color to be white, and that white was a mistake. So my AR speakers, whereas the surround started off with sort of a carbon black color to them, now they have essentially this just linen or whatever cloth color, or actually more the color of the surround dope. Alright, just gonna kinda go back over this, do a little blot. You can see I'm using fresh towel every time. Frequently finding myself a clean spot on this rag, so I want to reapply the old stuff. This is looking pretty good. This has come out pretty well, and I was able to use just the acetone. I kind of figured I would be able to. So what I read on Audio Karma was that somebody had had difficulty with just acetone, and then somebody else had explained that you really need to pool up a fair amount of acetone in there and go over it and back over it to get the stuff fully off. Now, when I took the old stuff off of other speakers, I used toluene because that is really the main solvent in the correct butyl rubber dope. Probably actually a mixture of xylene and toluene. Toluene is, I believe, the more volatile and effective solvent. Xylene is ever so slightly less awful. Toluene is nasty, nasty stuff. Were I doing this with toluene, I would probably be wearing the respirator mask with the acetone, which is a bit less volatile. I'm fine without it, as you can probably tell from my voice. Obviously I can smell it, but you know, people expect to use acetone without a respirator mask. This stuff is sold as fingernail polish remover. Okay. That is, I believe, looking super duper. And it's going to be a lot more flexible now. And now the idea is simply to put something on there that seals the pores while allowing it to maintain that flexibility. The next step will be to apply this stuff, the vintage AR dope. Mine is looking a little bit thick, so I'm probably going to add a bit of toluene. It should probably be just a bit thinner. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that's fine. I've had it for a while, and so I'm worried that some of the toluene or xylene might have evaporated, even though it's in this sealed container. Seals are only so good. The shelf life of toluene is somewhat limited because it is so volatile. By adding a little toluene, I may be able to re-dissolve some of that sediment. And for this, I really will sit back and be even less hunched over than with the acetone, because this stuff is nasty and it's difficult to work with this container. It is, where did I get this? It's kind of hard to get toluene. Whew, god damn, that stuff is awful. I think I brought this from an aircraft supplier in Houston, and it got shipped to me very slowly because this doesn't get on airplanes. Okay. Just a touch, see if that has a desirable effect. I've done this before. I've used the toluene to sort of stretch this speaker dope a bit. Just read the instructions. Container is not intended to be full. Using something you will dispose of, stir the contents of the container if any sediment is visible, particularly the black sealant. Use one end of this brush as a stirrer. Okay, so what do we say is using a clean cloth, wipe off the application brush that was just used, cleaning the surround using the brush supplied with the kit, brush off any remnant of dust or dirt, if there are any tears or separations in the surround, contact vintage AR. So I've already done quite a bit of cleaning here, of course, but it's probably a good idea to use a brush to just dust it now that it's dried. That is the surround. Make sure that's clean enough. Okay. Let's get a little city. Alright, done. Using the brush, apply a thin coat of sealant to the surround, moving around in a circle. Don't attempt to apply a thick coat, just enough to wet the cloth material. Try to keep the sealant contained to only the surround and its edges. A little over travel is not harmful. Allow 1 to 2 days for this first coat to dry. If necessary, apply a second thin coat. Allow a few days drying time. AR woofers seldom require more than 1 coat. KLH and other woofers may require a second coat, but almost never a third coat. Do not allow the surround to contact grill material. And that's particularly easy with this style of surround where the curve is inverted, that is, it's concave up. It seems to me that from inspection of the cabinet and so on, and the fact that this woofer was not actually sealed to the cabinet. Oh, I see, there is actually a bit of a sealer there. Alright, well, I think relative to KLH speakers, this might not be such a tight seal necessary, so I think we'll go more with an AR style of coating here. Still got that sediment settling out. I'll tell you what, I'm just not going to worry about it. I don't really want to dilute this anymore. Just trying to wet the material. So I gotta be careful not to glop this on, which is a bit tricky because it's a bit gloppy, loopy. Not liking the consistency here. If anything, that might be a little thick, but it is what it is. Should work all right. I don't need to do this. I've got plenty of brushes, but really more just of a demonstration that the toluene does work as a diluter for this stuff. See some of the gloppiness remaining for a bit, but generally being thinner and thinner as I clean it. I'm just gonna inspect here. See a spot could use a little extra because there's a slightly bare patch. I think it's probably worth mentioning that as careful and precise as people try to be in the restoration of these things, that application in the factory would have been a much more casual business. So I'm probably going a little overboard and getting this just right, but it's alright. I'm not doing a million of these, I'm doing 2, of which I'm only showing you 1. Now I'll dispose of that brush because I've got plenty. If I were doing the other, then I would do the other. I would have cleaned them both and then coated them both. I mean, I am gonna do the other, just not right now. Partly because I don't have the other one disassembled, and it's a whole lot easier to do this on a removed woofer rather than a woofer that's still in the cabinet. And partly because I wanted to test the method for removing the old dope on one before I attempted to do them both. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Like it says, allow 1 to 2 days for drying. Now, what are we calling drying? Drying means that the toluene and xylene will evaporate. Whatever solvents are in there will evaporate. It will not be dry to the touch. It should always remain tacky to the touch, which means you don't really want to go touching it, but it should be tacky, because that's the whole point of this stuff, is that it never really dries out and becomes brittle. It remains flexible. That is the wonder of the 100% pure butyl rubber. Now, I will admit to have tried to make my own speaker dope with a couple of different materials that advertised to be 100% butyl rubber. The thing is that you can't get, only the pure, unadulterated, unvulcanized butyl rubber works. And that's simply not available to the retail consumer. So I've attempted, for example, got a sheet of butyl rubber, but it's partially vulcanized. I tried to dissolve it in toluene, it just didn't. I got some other stuff that was sticky, and so I thought, well, maybe this is the unadulterated butyl rubber. That also did not dissolve in the toluene. So should you try this if you should try to make this for yourself, you will need pure butyl rubber, and pure butyl rubber will dissolve in toluene completely. Well, maybe a little sediment will remain as we saw it here, but in the main it will completely dissolve. And that's how you'll know that you've got the right stuff, in part. I mean, if it's butyl rubber that you started with. Obviously, lots of things dissolve in toluene. It's a powerful solvent. That should do it. Just wanted to give you a short tutorial on how to restore these sorts of surrounds. Again, this works for, this is a Realistic Optimus 1 woofer, which had the wrong original dope. The original dope was not the stuff that KLH and AR used, and so if you have a KLH or AR speaker, you can use the same process or skip straight to the vintage AR dope. If you use this stuff on a speaker that you have not previously mopped up the old stuff as I did here, then you can probably go quite a bit lighter on it than I did, because it's already got the stuff, and this will, you know, essentially help dissolve some of the original stuff and rejuvenate it. I think it's probably worth a word about disposing of my extra solvent here. The acetone's already dissolved, and I can see it's left a sticky mess in there, so I'll probably use some of the toluene to get that remnant out, and then I'll pour it into a jar that I need to dispose of anyway. But I'll leave the jar open, allow the stuff to evaporate away, and then simply throw out the jar once it's all evaporated. I don't want to try to pour this down a drain, for God's sakes. Yikes. I may need to use more acetone to get that stuff off. That's the old, that's bits of the old AR, no, that's bits of the old Realistic speaker dope. And the toluene's not really getting it very well. Yeah, the acetone does the trick. So that was the right way to go, initially. I've heard that the acetone will work on the old KLH and AR dope as well, but toluene is also highly effective there, and probably more effective than the acetone for that purpose. That stuff's nasty. Still streaking my beaker. Great to have a breeze, but dang, man. Here's a question. How dangerous is acetone? How just super sure do I want to be not to get this on my skin? I'd say worry about it, but not too much. Obviously, it's meant to apply directly to your fingernails to get fingernail polish off. So it can't be that dangerous, right? When I was in college, we filled jewelry cleaner ultrasonic baths full of acetone to clean parts of super vacuum pumps, diffusion pumps, if you know those types of pumps, trying to get varnish, oil varnish off of those diffusion pumps parts. And so we got heated acetone in an ultrasonic bath, just going in the lab for a long time. The fumes were pretty nasty. And I'm fine. But in general, certainly better to not get this on your skin than to worry about it. But like I said, don't worry about it too awfully much. Now, what about the toluene? Yeah, don't touch that shit. That should be nasty. I don't know. Again, you know, it's not super duper dangerous to get a little bit on you, but avoid it. And I would say worry about that more than you would worry about the acetone. Now, one thing you will feel is cold as I get this on my gloves. It feels cold because acetone is so volatile and it evaporates and you get evaporative cooling. So that feeling it cold through your gloves doesn't mean you've got some on you. It doesn't mean your gloves are leaky. Just FYI. Shop towel, paper towels, old brushes going directly in the garbage. This I need to put somewhere where it doesn't do mischief. The rest should be good. Make sure caps are tightly closed. Yep. I'll give you a quick preview of some of the stuff that I am and have been working on. Been working on this BV6V6, getting the final touches done on it. Been working on these ADS speakers, finally repainting the grills. I've been working on this Sansui 1000. It's a tube receiver from 1963. Trying to get that working. That's been a bit of a challenge. I even dipped into this Adcom power amp. I gave this Sony receiver a little attention. Got it working and sounding actually really nice for a low-powered receiver. Put some finishing touches on this PL4. It needed a little touch-up paint on the bottom. Got that done. Here's something pretty dang cool. This Heathkit amp. It is an AA40. And this was gifted to me by somebody who saw an ad of mine on Craigslist. It may not need actually that much work. Of course, it needs some new tubes. And here's what I'm even more excited about. A pair of Dynaco Mark III monoblock amplifiers. These need quite a bit of work. These KT88s, 5AR4 rectifier back there, and 6AN8 tube on the front end. Those need quite a bit of cosmetic work. But the transformers are there. They're huge. Finally, I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty of assembling a DG SE1, which involved hand carving and finishing these end pieces and trimming, carving, etc. this front piece. And recoating, putting a pretty heavy clear coat on the chassis, which had looked really nice and doesn't quite look as nice now, but I think at least it'll be more durable now. Well, I hope you found that video informative. I hope you enjoyed it perhaps. Got something out of it. If you did, give me a subscription, give me a like, give me a comment. Yeah, and have a great day.